A couple of years ago, I was a reasonable amount of money in debt. I crashed. The business I just started that was running for about a year, 6 months. And one of the things I learned from this third season is that the fact that the business crashed doesn't make me a failure. And I don't know who needs to hear it, but basically, if you have run business for some period of time, you understand that things do not always go how you wrote it down on your journal and the business model canvas, and probably you went as far as to do a business plan. Things do not always work like that. Those are just hypothetical forecasts. And what I learned from crashing the business is I'm not a failure just because it crashed. I might not be enough at the moment to operate at that level, but I will not be. Will I take responsibility? I took responsibility first of all. It was my fault this stuff went wrong, but I am not a failure because it crashed. There are so many other factors that were overlaying my team, blah, 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 yada, 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 and my own personal flaws. But I am not a failure. There's this beautiful book by John C. Maxwell, and it's called Failing Forward. The fact that every failure is an iteration, every misalignment to that perfect plan you wrote down is a step further towards that beautiful, brilliant business and that idea and that life you're trying to craft. So I want you to understand something, that you are not a failure because you crashed that business. You're not a failure because you were unable to continue managing the role or whatever office, whatever position you were in at any particular given time. You are not a failure, basically. There are so many other factors to it, but you are not a failure. Because being a failure gets to the mind. Being a failure is that you will stop being active, stop learning, stop being proactive because you're a failure. But getting to your mind that you are not a failure, you just stopped, this just didn't work now. It's going to work later, but it just didn't work now. Probably I don't know enough yet, but it's going to work later, but it just didn't work now. So, one of the greatest truths I learned from crashing a business, now not one, I crashed multiple, is that I am not a failure. I'm merely failing forward. And I'm still on the journey, and I know you're on the journey. And I know it's not easy. So, just continue, because you are going to fail forward, basically. It's going to be painful, it's not going to be sweet, but keep going. You are not a failure. If you have already crashed like me, start it again, or start a new idea, invest in a new startup, do something new, but keep going. You are not a failure because it didn't work out. Fine.